BJP leader BS Yediyurappa takes oath as Karnataka Chief Minister for fourth time. Assembly session for moving confidence motion. And for passage of the finance bill on Monday, party's National Working President J P Nadda asserts his party would provide a stable government in the state. Lok Sabha passes Companies Amendment Bill 2019. Finance Minister Lasith Malinga says bill will ensure improved ease of doing business for companies. Bill seeks to tighten corporate social responsibility compliance and reduce load of cases on National Company Law Tribunal. India reiterates focus on counter-terrorism and reforms in multilateral bodies. Participating in the BRICS Foreign Ministers meet in Rio de Janeiro, says UN Security Council is in danger of losing credibility and legitimacy if it does not address changing global dynamics. President, Vice President, Prime Minister, Defence Minister lead the nation in paying tributes to Kargil brave hearts. Nation celebrates Vijay Diwas, marking 20 years of the victory at Kargil. Commemorative functions held across the country. In sports, Sri Lankan pacer Lasith Malinga takes wicket on last ball of his ODI career. Sri Lanka beat Bangladesh by 91 runs in the first ODI. Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju receives Special Olympics International Football Championship torch, says government will fully support special athletes, announces cash prize for special athletes. Hello and welcome to this edition of the news. I'm Rukma in our top story. BS Yediyurappa, the man who was the first BJP leader to become Chief Minister of a South Indian state, took oath as Karnataka Chief Minister on Friday. He was sworn in as the Karnataka CM for a fourth time, 3 days after the fall of the 14-month-old Congress JDS coalition in a floor test. Yediyurappa's immediate challenges include winning a floor test, choosing his cabinet and passage of the finance bill by the 31st of this month. Later in the day, he took a key cabinet decision. In the interest of farmers, he also revealed that he will seek a vote of confidence at 10 a.m. on 29th July and the finance bill will be taken up the same day. He added that farmers, weavers and workers will be his government's priorities.
That's how the Natak in Karnataka ended. BS Yediyurappa took oath as Karnataka Chief Minister for the fourth time on Friday evening. Governor Vajubhai Vala administered oath of office in secrecy to him at the Raj Bhavan. Yediyurappa took over the reins of the state 3 days after the fall of the Congress JDS coalition government that failed to clear the floor test in Karnataka Assembly. Amid fast-paced developments, Yediyurappa met the governor, staking claim to form the government and requesting him to hold his oath-taking ceremony on the same day. The governor invited him to form the government. The seven-time MLA was the only leader to take oath at the swearing-in ceremony at Raj Bhavan on Friday. His family members shared a glimpse of his priorities as Chief Minister.
Take care of poverty first. Poverty line people we have to concentrate. Labor class we have to concentrate.
First of all, I thanks to our central leaders because they gave opportunity to taking as a oath as a CM. One side happy, another side very responsibility also is there, challenges is there.
After the May 2018 Assembly polls too, Yediyurappa became the Chief Minister, but his term was quite short-lived. It lasted nearly 48 hours. He had resigned before the trust vote in the Assembly, after which the Congress-JDS coalition came to power, which collapsed after 14 months due to rebellion within the two ruling parties. BS Yediyurappa was sworn in a day after Speaker of Legislative Assembly K.R. Ramesh Kumar disqualified 3 Congress rebels and kept the decision on the rest of the rebel MLAs pending. Currently, BJP has 105 MLAs in the Assembly. It is the single largest party in the Assembly. 2 independents back it, whereas the coalition has 99 MLAs. Ahead of the floor test, the BJP exuded confidence of comfortably sailing through.
सम्माननीय येदियुरप्पा जी हमारे नेता भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मजबूती से दक्षिण में खास करके कर्नाटक में उन्होंने जो जगह बनाया, आज वो चौथी बार फिर से मुख्यमंत्री बन रहे, हम सभी कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए खुशी का, क्या बोलूं मैं, खुशी का सागर है हमारे लिए।
Immediately after the swearing-in ceremony, BS Yediyurappa made 3 big-ticket announcements. The first, his government will face a trust vote at 10 a.m. on the 29th of July. It will then present the finance bill. Yediyurappa announced 2 additional installments of 2,000 rupees for beneficiaries of PM Kisan scheme. Meanwhile, in Delhi, blaming the Congress-JDS coalition for its failure, BJP working president J P Nadda said the coalition government crumbled under its own weight. He further said that the state will provide a stable government under the leadership of Yediyurappa.
कर्नाटक की सरकार वो अपने कारणों से गई है और उसके बाद वहाँ येदियुरप्पा जी आगे बढ़े। यह प्रजातंत्र की दृष्टि से जहाँ जहाँ की सरकारों का जिस तरीके का वातावरण होता है, जैसे वो गवर्न करते हैं, उसके नतीजे होते हैं। और मैं इतना ही कहूँगा कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक स्वच्छ प्रशासन देने के लिए कटिबद्ध रही है और उसी को हम आगे बढ़ाते हैं।
The main challenges that the newly elected Chief Minister of Karnataka, BS Yediyurappa, will have to face include proving his majority in the Assembly, choosing his cabinet, and conducting by-polls on the recently vacated seats. Other important challenges will be providing clean governance and finding a solution for distressed farmers.
So once again the lotus blooms in Karnataka, and Karnataka once again becomes the fort for BJP in the south. BS Yediyurappa, now once again forming the government and leading the state as the Chief Minister, has promised that he will not indulge in vengeance politics and he will bring the state on the map of development. For Yediyurappa, this vision and task becomes easy since the government in the center, led by Narendra Modi, will be all willing to put in all the efforts to bring all the welfare and flagship schemes for the welfare and betterment of the state. It was because of the coalition government that several center schemes were not implemented and did not reach the people and did not reach the ground. So now for Yediyurappa, this task become easier as he will work in coordination with the central government to put Karnataka on the map of development. With cameraman Madesh, Aisha Khanam, DD News, Bangalore.
Lok Sabha recorded yet another productive day on Friday with the passage of the Companies Amendment Bill 2019. The bill seeks to amend the Companies Act 2013 and to strengthen corporate governance and compliance framework. The amendment seeks to benefit law-abiding corporates while simultaneously plugging gaps in the corporate governance. During question hour in Lok Sabha, Union Forests and Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said that 58,000 crore rupees has been spent in the past 5 years to set up a sewage water treatment plant in the country. He added that the ministry is supplementing efforts of states in abatement of pollution in rivers under National River Conservation Plan. Replying to another question in the Lok Sabha, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan gave details of efforts made to contain the health crisis in Muzaffarpur due to acute encephalitis syndrome. The government is ensuring adequate steps in dealing with encephalitis. In Muzaffarpur, the minister added that a super specialty hospital is ready in Muzaffarpur, which will be dedicated to the nation by the end of this year. Working President of the BJP, J P Nadda, on Friday presented the report card of the first 50 days of Team Modi 2. Addressing the media at the BJP headquarters, he said that though 50 days is not a long duration, the government has made impressive progress on the path of development. In his address, Nadda said that the government has taken important decisions for development. He assured that the government's Har Ghar Jal scheme will provide water in every rural household by 2024. 1,25,000 kilometers of roads will be laid under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. The government will invest 100 lakh crore rupees for infrastructural development. The government has taken several initiatives for betterment of labourers, which will benefit almost 50 crore labourers. He said the decisions taken by the Modi government are for the benefit of everyone.
इस छोटे से अवधि में 50 डेज में 44 labor laws have been reduced to 4 codes. एक code for minimum wages, code for legislative protection of the minimum wages. There is a code for working conditions of the laborers, कि वो किस तरीके वर्किंग कंडीशंस में उनकी सेफ्टी और सेफ्टी के साथ साथ उनका हेल्थ चेकअप, ये सारी चीज़ों को किया गया है और इससे 50 करोड़ वर्कर्स विल बी बेनिफिटेड, 50 करोड़ वर्कर्स इससे बेनिफिट लेंगे.
Lok Sabha MPs cutting across party lines condemned in one voice Samajwadi Party MP Azam Khan's remarks directed at BJP MP Rama Devi when she was in the chair in the lower house. During a discussion on the Triple Talaq bill on Thursday, leaders from all political parties termed the remark as inappropriate. MPs were united in demanding exemplary action against him. After hearing the members for nearly an hour, Speaker Om Birla assured the members that he will hold a meeting with all political parties and take a decision. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi said the Lok Sabha Speaker will seek an apology from Azam Khan and action will be initiated against the SP leader if he fails to apologize. And India reiterated its focus on counter-terrorism and reformed multilateralism at the BRICS foreign ministers' meet in Rio de Janeiro. Representing India at the meet, General V.K. Singh called upon BRICS to take action against all forms of terror-supporting acts. India also raised the issue of reforms of multilateral bodies, specifically the UN Security Council. Both these issues also found a place in the joint media statement at the end of the meet at Rio.
A great amount of work has been done in BRICS where counter-terrorism is concerned, and especially by Brazil in the last almost a year of its presidency. And terrorism is one issue which concerns everybody in the world. So we emphasize that. We also emphasize that restructuring of the United Nations as such, various organs, and to bring it in sync with the realities of the world today in terms of representations, in terms of how various regions who remain unrepresented as part of the Security Council structure. So we said that the BRICS needs to take this issue more positively.
India and Brazil also held bilateral talks on the sidelines of the meet and discussed a range of issues, including cooperation in science and technology and agriculture.
During our bilateral meeting with the foreign minister, we also built up on this in terms of relationship between Brazil and India, how science and technology needs to be taken forward, how agricultural cooperation needs to be taken forward, how both India and Brazil can benefit from it. And we exchange views on how things are today in our neighborhood and in Brazil's neighborhood.
The Brazilian foreign minister commended India for raising the issue of disaster-resilient infrastructure in the BRICS forum.
We want to discuss more in depth our respective views of any international issues of concern to us, which is basically all because both Brazil and India have a global presence. We want to go more in depth about security issues, about how we see the Middle East, how we see the question of Latin America and South America, multilateral trading system, WTO, reform of the WTO. We want to touch a little bit in all of those issues where both Brazil and India are key players.
The 20th anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas was celebrated across the country yesterday. The day marks 20 years since India achieved victory in the 1999 Kargil War and forced Pakistan troops to retreat from our land. To commemorate the victory and memory of our valiant soldiers, 26 July is celebrated as Kargil Vijay Divas. President Ramnath Kovind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh led the nation in paying tributes to the Kargil heroes, extolling the bravery of the soldiers who were part of the operation. At the Kargil War Memorial in Dras, the Army Chief General Bipin Singh Rawat honoured the families of the martyred soldiers. In a stern warning to Pakistan, he said that the world knows that Pakistan shelters terrorists. And both houses of parliament also observed a moment's silence as a symbol of respect to the heroes we lost during the Kargil War. The central theme of this year's celebrations was Remember, Rejoice and Renew. And some weather news now. Heavy rainfall in several areas across Mumbai yet again brought water logging, tree collapses and train service disruptions to the city. The last 2 days of rainfall in Mumbai have caused water logging in several parts of the city, including Sion, Matunga, Mahim, Andheri, Malad and Dahisar, which led to traffic snarls at several major junctions. The Central Railway has suspended services from Kalyan to Karjat Khopoli as a precautionary measure since very heavy rains in Kurla Thane belt and beyond Kalyan have led to water rushing onto the tracks. Operations at the airport were also affected with many flights delayed. 17 inbound flights were diverted from Mumbai airport on Friday as the city witnessed heavy downpour. All 17 flights were diverted to nearby airports, while 4 flights had to go around before they could land. Meanwhile, the Met Department has forecast heavy rains in several parts of Maharashtra, including Mumbai, and sounded an orange alert for Raigad, Ratnagiri and Sindhudurg districts. A primary school in restive Bijapur of Bastar has come to life again, 14 years after Maoists destroyed it. With villagers' initiatives and the administration's support, it has been reopened in Padmur village on Wednesday with 52 children on the rolls. On Thursday, the 52 students were served midday meals and books, stationery, mats and other things which were distributed among them.
A primary school reopened in Naxal-affected Padmur village on Wednesday, 14 years after it was closed due to the threat from the Maoists. In 2005 and 2006, when people had revolted against the Maoists, Padmur village in Bijapur district was targeted by the Naxalites. Thereafter, villagers had left the village. In 2012, the villagers returned, but their concern about the education of children continued to haunt them. The education department finally decided to reopen the school. In order to facilitate education to the children in the vicinity, the officials crossed the river on foot, carrying books and other materials on their shoulders.
स्कूल खोलना और बच्चों को शिक्षा से जोड़ना एक निसंदेह एक बहुत ही महत्वाकांक्षी कार्य है, एक चुनौतीपूर्ण कार्य है। यह इलाका चूँकि पूरी तरीके से मुख्य धारा से कटा हुआ इलाका है, अति संवेदनशील क्षेत्र है और शिक्षा का जो प्रतिशत इस इलाके में बहुत ही कम है। गांव के लोग शिक्षित भी नहीं हैं, शिक्षा के महत्व को नहीं जानते हैं। हमने लगातार प्रयास किया है अपने सीएसी के माध्यम से, अपने संपर्क सूत्रों के माध्यम से और यह प्रयास के कारण ही आज हम यहाँ पर सफल हुए हैं कि एक स्कूल हमारा यह प्रारंभ हुआ।
The occasion was brought a fresh lease of life for the villagers. To celebrate the development, they decorated the site with balloons. 52 children took admission to the school where they were handed books, notebooks, other educational materials and some sports equipment. Bureau Report, DD News.
And US President Donald Trump on Friday vowed substantial retaliation against France for attacks hitting US tech giants, accusing his counterpart Emmanuel Macron of foolishness and issuing a veiled threat to impose tariffs on French wine. Trump voiced his anger in a tweet in response to French plans to tax multinational firms like Google, Apple, Facebook and Amazon. French authorities argue that the firms pay little or no corporate tax in countries where they are not based. The Trump administration has said the tax unfairly targets US tech giants. Meanwhile, France has said it will go ahead with a digital tax. French economy minister has said universal taxation of digital activities is a challenge for France. He further added that France wants to reach an agreement within the G7 and the OECD. Meanwhile, France will implement its national decisions. With Britain's departure from the European Union due in less than 100 days, it seems the new Prime Minister has a contingency plan at hand. The speculations of early elections started making rounds after Boris Johnson met with local police officers in Birmingham yesterday, where he talked about his promise to recruit 20,000 more police officers. He also hinted of speaking on other aspects of a packed domestic agenda. Britain's next scheduled election is 3 years away, but signs suggest Johnson may be preparing for a snap poll within weeks or months to break the Brexit impasse that defeated his predecessor Theresa May. She resigned after failing 3 times to get Parliament's backing for a divorce deal with the EU. Refuting such speculations, Boris, however, ruled out calling a general election. He said he believed the British people didn't want another vote but wanted Brexit delivered by the 31st of October.
I can give you an absolute the British people voted in 2015, in 2016, in 2017. Why on earth? What they want us to do is deliver on their mandate to come out of the EU on October the 31st. They don't want another electoral event. They don't want a referendum. They don't want a general election. We want to come out of the EU on October the 31st. That is what we're going to do.
On to sports now. Sri Lankan fast bowler Lasith Malinga retired from ODI cricket after the Islanders pulled off an emphatic victory over Bangladesh in the first ODI in Colombo on Friday. In his final match, the bowler recorded figures of 3 for 38 in 9.3 overs. He finished his career with a wicket in his final ball. Overall in his career, Malinga has played 30 tests, picking up 101 wickets at an average of 33.16 and 226 ODIs for Sri Lanka, in which he picked up 338 wickets at an average of 28.94. Malinga has also played 73 T20s, in which he recorded 97 wickets at an average of 19.7 and will still be available for selection in the upcoming T20 World Cup next year. In badminton, Sai Praneeth entered the semi-finals of the Japan Open, beating Indonesia's Tommy Sugiarto 21-12, 21-15 in the quarterfinals in Tokyo. Sai Praneeth has become the first ever Indian men's singles shuttler to reach the last 4 stage. Praneeth will face top seed Kento Momota. And Union Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju received the Special Olympics torch in Delhi on Friday. He received the Olympics torch from the chairman of the Special Olympics International Football Championship, Dr. Amar Prasad Reddy. Sports Minister said that the government will fully support the Special Olympics and International Football Championships in Chennai. He also announced a cash prize for winners of Abu Dhabi Special Olympic Games.
Union Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju received the Special Olympics torch from Dr. Amar Prasad Reddy, the chairman of Special Olympics International Football Championships in New Delhi on Friday. Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju, along with several special athletes, lit the flame of hope. The flame of hope symbolizes courage and celebration of diversity, uniting communities around the globe. Wishing the athletes very best, Sports Minister said that in the last Special Summer Olympics in Abu Dhabi, Indian contingent won maximum number of medals, which reflects their energy and motivation level.
Special Olympics का जो flame है, it is truly a flame of hope. I'm extremely happy to learn that India got maximum numbers of medals. So, in terms of gold, we may be third, but in terms of numbers of medals, we were number 1. That shows that our athletes, special athletes, have great potential and great energy to perform at the world stage.
Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju announced cash prize for winners of Abu Dhabi Special Games.
Government has already announced certain support to them. Very soon we will be having an event to hand over the cash. कुछ पैसे जो है हम स्पेशल एथलीट्स को देने के लिए कार्यक्रम जल्दी करने वाले हैं.
The Special Olympics International Football Championships will be held at Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Chennai from 3rd to 6th of August. It's a 5-a-side football tournament and country will field 2 men and 1 women's team. Narayan Singh Sport, DD News, Delhi.
And time now for the weather report. And with that, we wind up this edition of the news. News and updates continue on DD News and DD India. Stay tuned. Namaskar.